Welcome, friend. This is the story of a man and his three daughters. His wife had passed away a few years ago. All his three daughters were very beautiful, but the youngest daughter was the most intelligent among her sisters. Her name was Zainab. Karam Din loved all his three daughters very much. He never let his daughters feel the absence of their mother. He fulfilled every wish of his daughters. Now Karam Din's daughters had grown up and started cooking food for their father themselves. When Karam Din went out for work, whenever he went, his daughters would prepare food for him and accompany him. In the same village, there lived a widow who had a daughter. The widow had a habit of going to every house to ask for something. When the daughters of Karam Din were unable to get anything from their wen, she used to cook food for her father. That woman would often come to their house at that time to ask for fire. But Karam Din's youngest daughter Zainab did not like that widow woman at all. Whenever that woman came to their house, Zainab would say to her sisters that, "Why does this woman come to our house? She is not good at all." Both the elder sisters told Zainab she explains to him that she is a widow and poor. "If she takes away fire from our house, what loss will it do to you?" Zainab would become quiet after listening to her sisters, but she would say that you will see that this woman will create trouble for all of us one day. This continued like this. That woman used to come every day to take fire from their house, and used to mix ashes in Karam Din's food when she got a chance. When Karam Din felt something bad in his food, he thought that his young daughters cooked the food, and so he asked them to do the same. Some mistake must have happened. He loved his daughters very much, and was not able to understand why his daughters were spoiling his food. Then one day, Karam Din thought that today, I will keep an eye on my daughters. After all, my daughters have she has started mixing it in my food. When Karam Din's daughters started cooking, he started watching them secretly. His elder daughter was washing rice with clean water. The younger daughter was cooking curry, and the youngest daughter Zainab was cleaning the utensils in which the food was kept. It had to be put in. In a short while, the food was cooked and ready. There was nothing wrong with the food. Karam Din was worried. But then suddenly, what he saw made the ground slip away from under his feet. He saw that the same widow woman had come to their house to take fire, and her younger daughter Zainab was arguing with her, while her other sisters were explaining to Zainab, "It doesn't matter. Zainab, she is a widow. Let her take fire," said the elder sister. But that widow woman, on the pretext of taking fire, secretly mixed ashes in Karam Din's food and spoiled the whole food. Seeing this, Karam Din got very angry, and the next day Karam Din went to that house. The widow called the woman to her house and angrily asked her, "How dare you spoil my food?" The woman came to Karam Din in a very dramatic manner and started caressing his chest and said, "Hey, I was seeing that you are really. Do you love your daughters or not? Do you scold them when the food is spoiled or not? But you turned out to be a very good person who loves your daughters a lot. You caught me stealing immediately. Now I am convinced that you love your daughters a lot. You love me very much. Nothing like this will happen again." Day by day, I started believing his words and his drama because that widow woman was beautiful. Karam Din was impressed by her behavior, and instead of saying anything, he decided to make her his wife. In a few days, he married that widow woman without the permission of his daughters and brought her to his house. After a few days, the widow started hating Karam Din's three daughters. She wanted Karam Din's daughters to leave the house at any cost. She started making various plans to get them out of the house. She thought that if her daughters leave the house, she and her daughter will be able to live a comfortable life. And at the same time, Karam Din's full attention will be on her and her daughter only. She knew that Karam Din loves his daughters very much, and she could not see them unhappy even a bit. Her own daughter always used to roam around wearing costly clothes, which made her look modern, but the stepmother forced Karam Din's three daughters to do all the household work, and she did not even give them proper food to eat. She did not even give them anything, and slowly she reduced their other needs as well. All the three sisters started feeling sad all the time. One day, too, the elder sisters were crying. So Zainab came to her elder sisters and said, "Dear sisters, come, let us three go out somewhere so that our mind gets fresh." Then those three sisters left the house, and while walking reached a forest. There was a dense forest. Sitting under the tree, she started remembering her mother while crying. Meanwhile, An old man who prayed to God passed by them. Zainab was sitting on the ground and crying and saying, "Oh my God, we are oppressed girls and are very sad. You see, you have heard how much our stepmother tortures us. We have been hungry for so many days." The elders of God were standing nearby and listening to their conversation. Then he turned to Zainab and said, "Daughters, you three come here under this tree every day. Can you tell me what is the sorrow?" Zainab, while crying, told the whole incident to the old man of God. The old man felt very sad on hearing her words. He said, "Daughter, my hut is at a little distance from here. I live there and pray in front of my hut. There is a pomegranate tree outside with ripe pomegranates on it. You go and you can pluck as many pomegranates as you want from that tree and eat them." Hearing this, all the three girls happily reached that hut and saw that the tree had very beautiful and juicy pomegranates. All the three plucked one pomegranate each and sat down and started eating it with great enjoyment. When her stomach was full, she thanked the old man and came back home. After this, when her stepmother did not give her food, she used to go to the forest every day and fill her stomach by eating those pomegranates. Gradually, she stopped eating the food given by her mother. I left them. Now their stepmother started thinking, "I don't give these girls anything to eat. I make them do so much work. I humiliate them. Still, there is a strange glow on their faces. None of them falls sick. Rather, their beauty keeps increasing. And my daughter, whom I give such good food, looks ugly in front of them." The next day when those girls went towards the forest, the stepmother sent her daughter to follow them. When the three girls were plucking and eating pomegranates, Zainab saw his stepsister and told the other sisters, "This girl is following us. I will take her out of here. I will send her away." Then Zainab hid the pomegranate in her hand and said if she tells all this to her mother, then she can become a cause of trouble for us. But Zainab's other sisters said, "Zainab, what are you saying? This poor girl is innocent." Zainab's elder sisters said that our stepmother troubles us, but she does not say anything to us. After this, the three sisters made their stepsister sit near them and gave her a pomegranate, but the stepsister did not eat the pomegranate and quickly went to her mother. She said, "Mother, those girls do not stay hungry. They pluck pomegranates from a tree in the forest and eat them." An old man was also praying near the same tree, and he also did not try to stop them. On hearing this, the stepmother got very angry. She started thinking, "I wondered how I could stop these girls from eating pomegranates." She remained angry the whole day. When Karam Din came back home from work in the evening, he saw his wife upset. He asked, "What is your problem? Why are you sitting so sad?" She started saying, "I have a problem with you. I am having severe pain, and it is not getting cured by any medicine." Karam Din asked, "Then how will it get cured?" She immediately said, "There is a pomegranate tree in the forest, on which red pomegranates are grown. If you get that tree, cut from the root, and boil its roots to make a medicine and apply it on my forehead, then my headache can be cured." Karam Din said, "That was all." Then he called some men and gave them money, and said that there is a pomegranate tree in the forest. "You guys uproot it from the roots and bring its roots to me." In a few hours, those men would uproot that tree from the roots and bring its roots to me. They brought it to Karam Din, who quickly lit a fire and made a medicine from those roots and started rubbing it on his wife's forehead. After a while, his wife started saying that she is relieved now. The next day, when the three sisters went to the forest, they saw that the pomegranate tree had grown very small. Seeing that someone had uprooted the tree from its roots, they became very upset and started thinking, what would they eat now? Then all three girls sat there and started crying. Hearing their cries, the elderly man from God came out of his hut. He understood why the girls were crying. "She is crying." They said, "What is there to cry about? God will give you something better than this then." The old man from God pointed towards the ground with his finger, and a small river was formed there in which milk was flowing instead of water. He gave those girls a clay cup and said that drink as much milk as you want from wherever you want. The girls were very happy. She started drinking milk by filling it in an earthen cup. When her stomach was full, she thanked the old man and returned home. Thereafter, it became her daily routine to go to the pond and drink milk by filling it in an earthen cup. Their stepmother was shocked to see their health. She called her daughter and said, I had wiped out all traces of the pomegranate tree from the jungle, yet it did not affect the health of these girls. I do not even give them enough food to eat. After all, this is the reason why these girls are suffering from diabetes. What are they eating that is making them so healthy? He asked his daughter to follow them and find out what they eat. The girl again followed her sisters into the forest. When all three were drinking milk from an earthen cup, when Zainab looked back, she saw her stepsister standing quietly and said to the other sisters, "Look, this girl is following us again." I said to her sisters, "You all get up quickly and send her away from here, because if she sees our pond, then she will go home and tell everything, and then there will be a ruckus in the house." But Zainab's elder sisters scolded her and said, "What is your end? What is the matter? I agree that our stepmother tortures us, but what is the fault of this poor girl in this?" Zainab became quiet after hearing this. After this, all three made their stepsister sit near the river and filled a cup with milk and gave it to her. That girl gave the milk to her. She drank it and quickly went to her mother and told her the whole story about the pond and the milk. The stepmother got very angry on hearing this. She called some men from her village and said, "I will give you as much money as you want, but you will have to go to the forest where the old man has a hut and a pond. You have to destroy that hut and fill the pond with soil. In return, you will get a lot of money." In a short while, those men returned after doing everything according to her wish. That woman was very happy now. Next day, when the three sisters went to the forest, they saw that there was neither a pond nor the old man's hut. She felt a mountain of sorrow. She sat there and started crying and returned to her home hungry and thirsty. Her stepmother felt very relieved seeing this. One day she again went to sleep, making an excuse of illness. In the evening when Dan came home, he kissed his wife lovingly. He told him that even if everything of mine is sold, I will not let anything happen to you. I will get you treated by the best doctor. But his wife had some other plans. She said that you do not need to do so much. Just do a small thing to save my life. Karam Din said, "Tell me quickly what to do. I will do that." His wife said, "Take out the blood of your three daughters and rub it on the palms of my hands and feet. Only then I can get well." Hearing this, tears came in the eyes of Karam Din, because he loved his daughters very much. He quietly came out of the room and started looking for his daughters, but they were not at home. He got worried, and while looking for them, he reached the graveyard. There he saw that his three daughters were crying, sitting near their mother's grave. Seeing this, Karam Din's heart trembled. On one side was his wife's desire, and on the other side was his daughter's life. Karam Din did not know what to do. He thought that his wife will never be happy with his daughters, and his daughters are not happy with their stepmother, so he decided to take his daughters far away. He hugged them and said, "Hey, daughters, why are you upset? I will take you somewhere else." He took his daughters to a dense forest. There he made a mud stove and cooked food and fed it to his daughters. When the daughters ate their fill, Karam Din left his daughters sleeping there and ran away from there. He had this thought in his heart that at least his daughters will remain alive and will be saved from the cruelty of their stepmother. On the way he hunted a deer and took its blood and gave it to his wife. His wife applied the blood on her hands and feet and said happily that she is relieved now. She was convinced that Karam Din had killed his daughters. On the other hand, when she woke up, she saw that her father had left her. She started calling out for her father. She got scared hearing the sounds of wild animals in the forest, and she started crying. Coincidentally, three friends had come to the same jungle for hunting. When they started returning after hunting, one of their friends named Nasir said, "I think someone is in trouble here." Nasir said, "Are you people listening to someone crying? I am not able to hear any sound. I can hear someone crying. Let's go quickly and see if someone needs our help." Then all three friends started walking in the direction of the sound. Going ahead, they saw that three beautiful girls were sitting and crying. Nasir, he went ahead and asked them, "What are you doing here alone, and why are you crying so much?" Zainab told her whole story to Nasir. The boys felt sorry for them and started saying to each other, "Why don't we marry these girls? We will get a roof over our heads and our lives will also start passing peacefully." Then those three boys married those three girls. Zainab got married to Nasir. Coincidentally, the houses of those three friends were nearby. All the three sisters were living happily in their respective homes. After a year, a son was born in Zainab's house. Seeing this Nasir's friends and Zainab's sisters, she became very happy. Gradually, Zainab's son turned 2 years old. One day, Nasir told his friends that today, again, I feel like hunting in the jungle. Let's go hunting, but his friends refused and said that I have to go for some important work. We cannot go to the jungle with you. Nasir took permission from Zainab and went alone to hunt in the jungle. But after this, many days passed and Nasir did not return home. His sisters also became very worried. Seeing her worry, Zainab's brother-in-law got worried. Nasir's friend consoled her and said, "Don't worry. We will find Nasir and bring him back." But God's will was such that Nasir's friends also went to the jungle to look for him, but they too did not return. Once again, a mountain of sorrow fell upon those three sisters. One day, Zainab was putting her son to sleep when there was a knock on the door. She quickly went and opened the door. What did she see? An old fakir who was wearing green clothes was standing at the door. But Zainab, seeing him, said, "Baba, my husband is not at home. I will take you to your home. I cannot allow him to come. You may come when my husband comes." To this the fakir said, "Daughter, I am very hungry. What is the harm in feeding a hungry person?" Zainab, out of helplessness, called the fakir to her house and started cooking food for him. But that magician kept looking at Zainab with evil eyes. Then that magician got up and came close to Zainab and said, "Listen, girl, I like you very much. Leave your son and marry me?" Zainab started trembling with fear and said, "Baba, what are you saying? I am married and mother of a child. How dare you say this?" Hearing this, the magician got angry. He turned Zainab into a underscore with his magic and put a rope around her neck and started dragging her away. Zainab's son was crying loudly. When Zainab's sisters heard her son crying, they came running to her house. They quickly hugged Zainab's son and started looking for their sister in the house, but they could not find Zainab anywhere. After her stepmother was not seen, now Zainab had also disappeared at this time. Things kept passing like this. Now a long time of 14 years had passed since Zainab's disappearance. During this time, Zainab's son had grown up, and both his aunts had brought him up together. One day, Zainab's aunt told him the whole truth about his mother. On hearing this, he became very upset and said, "Aunt, today I will definitely go to look for my parents." His aunt explained to him, "Son, what had to happen has happened. Those who had to go have gone. Now we do not want to lose you, our husband. They too had gone to the jungle, and they too never returned. If you two go, then with whose support will we go?" But the boy said, "Aunt, don't worry. I will find my father and the others and bring them back." Then the boy left for the jungle for many days. He kept wandering here and there in the forest, but he could not understand where to find his parents. While searching like this, he reached an area which was completely made up of stones. There he saw stone buildings and a beautiful picture of a mountain. He saw a small stone house. He was looking at that house carefully when suddenly an old man came out of that house. He came and said, "Son, you seem to be new here. What was the need for you to come to this dangerous area?" The boy replied, "Babaji, I have come here to find my parents and uncle. A magician turned my mother into a underscore and took her with him. I went to the god's place, and the old man said, 'Son, this area belongs to a very great magician. He is very powerful. Whoever messes with him or disrespects him, he turns him into stone. These stones that you see around you, they were also once humans. The magician turned them into stone. A few years ago, a young man came here. Then 2 more young men followed him. The magician turned them into a tree and stone. He also kept a noble and pure girl captive for 12 years. That magician, he wants to marry the girl, but the girl is not agreeing in any way." After listening to the old man's words, the boy started thinking that surely this girl is my mother, and these people are my own family members. At last I have found my own people. After this, the boy told the old man. He told his whole story and said, "Babaji, please help me. Please tell me some way to save these helpless people, old people, whose huts were destroyed someday." Zainab's stepmother had burnt her. He smiled and said, "Son, God always helps the noble-hearted people. You should not lose courage." The old man was forced to come and live in this dangerous area. He promised the boy, "I will definitely support you. The old man thought, "Who knows? By freeing this boy's mother, the other prisoners may also be freed from the magician's captivity." The old man told the other villagers that this is my grandson who has come to meet me from another village. When the magician suspected that there was someone new in the village, when the boy came, he immediately went to the old man of God and started asking, "Who is this?" The old man replied, "This is my grandson." This is how the magician and the boy met. The boy started meeting the magician by hiding his identity. The magician, seeing the boy, said, You seem sensible and noble and innocent. Like your grandfather tomorrow, you will do a task for me. I will send you to a building where I have to give my message to a girl I want to marry her." The boy understood that he was going to meet his mother. He became very happy and started thinking that he will take flowers for his mother. He planned that when the time comes, he will show his identity to his mother so that she can recognize him. It will be revealed that at the time of Zainab's marriage, Nasir had given her a ring on which his name was written. Later, Zainab had given that ring to her son. Years later, that ring was enlarged and remade, and the boy is still wearing the same ring. The old man said to the boy, "Hide your ring in the bouquet of flowers. When your mother sees it, she will immediately recognize you. But this task will not be easy. The magician has posted a guard to keep an eye on Zainab, who is always on guard. The magician keeps a strict watch on the elder and respected him a lot, and considered his grandson to be pious. He started sending the boy to Zainab every day by giving him a bouquet. The magician had no doubts about the boy because of his young age of just 14 years. This did not happen. Zainab was kept imprisoned in a room where no man was allowed to go. The boy used to go to Zainab with a bouquet every day, and a maid of the magician used to always stay with Zainab. One day, luck favored the boy, and he got such an opportunity. When there was no one in the room except Zainab, the boy quickly removed the ring from his finger and put it in a basket of flowers. Hiding it in a bouquet, he placed it at Zainab's feet. As soon as the bouquet was placed on the ground, there was the sound of a ring. Zainab picked up the bouquet in surprise and recognized the ring tied in the flowers. It was the same ring which she had made her son wear years ago. Zainab's eyes immediately focused on her. As their eyes turned towards the boy who had brought the bouquet, the reality became clear that the magician had imprisoned Zainab, but her son started planning to free his mother. Zainab agreed to marry the magician and came to know the secret of his power. The magician told her that her life was in a parrot which was locked in a cage and kept under strict guard under a tree in a dense forest. Zainab told this secret to her son but forbade him from going to save him from danger. Still, the son assured his mother that he would return successful. After many days of hard work, he reached the jungle. Seeing an opportunity, he took the parrot out of the cage and brought it back to the magician's building. Seeing him, the magician begged for the parrot's return. The boy started begging and cleverly got all the prisoners freed from the magician. After this, he pulled the feathers of the parrot, due to which the magician's power ended, and finally he twisted the neck of the parrot, due to which the magician died. The boy freed his mother Zainab, father Nasir, and all the other prisoners. Then they all went to the elder of God. They thanked the elder and returned to their home. Zainab's sisters were very happy to meet their husband, who had been held captive by the magician for years. Their father, who was drowned in grief at the loss of his daughters, started crying with joy on seeing them safe and sound. He apologized to his daughters and told them that all this happened because of his wife's conspiracy. The daughters consoled their father and said that they are happy with their lives. Their father told them that their stepmother, who tortured them, was suffering from a dirty disease. She became a victim of this and left this world. After this, everyone started living their life with happiness and peace.